Hello, I'm Thomas Campbell from IP&TV News. I'm here at Smart Home World in London. I'm speaking to independent consultant in the smart home space, Martin Harriman. Martin, welcome.
Thank you.
So it's an unusually busy conference. People are barely able to squeeze into this conference room this morning. What does that tell you about the ecosystem that this is reflecting?
Oh, I think that, these conferences have been going on for a long time. I mean, the smart home has existed as a concept for an awful long time, but in the last year or 18 months, it's standing room only at these events because suddenly there's a belief that things are actually happening.
Okay. In your experience, in this area, it's quite rich, it's quite varied. Do you believe that? Do you think, yes, we are at a pivotal point in the development of this technology in its distribution to consumers?
Yeah, I do, 100%. And I'll tell you why. I mean, first of all, you have got things like Nest coming along, Google paying an awful lot of money for that capability. And that's not the only company that's been acquired. So you've got, a lot of mergers and acquisitions going on. You've got a lot of capital coming into it. And I think the other thing is this industry was really held back because everything had to be bespoke. If you had an alarm system or you had a living in place solution, or if you had, everything required bespoke technology, and it doesn't anymore because we've all got a smartphone. And everything's just an app away, or it's a suite of apps, or it's a platform that an app interconnects to. So suddenly the barriers that were there don't exist anymore.
There's this expectation among service providers that they are going to own this space. You've got some background in working with service providers. Do you think they're right in this? And what do you think is going to define the real winners?
I think they obviously have some right to believe that this is a market they should play a major part in. They're in people's homes today. If they're a fixed line operator or a TV provider, they put a mobile phone in pretty much everybody's pocket. So they've got reasons to believe that they should be winners in the space, and their brands are beginning to adapt to it. That doesn't mean they'll succeed. I could give you other examples of markets that maybe service providers thought they would take a bigger role in than they've actually ended up doing. And I think that what we're seeing is that today the customer experience still isn't great. It's you've got lots of apps, you've got lots of hardware. People are beginning to put those together, but the customer experience, whether it's setting it up or operating it, is pretty clunky, even now. And I think that the winners will be the people that are able to seamlessly stick all of this complex hardware together in a way that makes it easy for people to operate, and then put some really clever analytics around it that mean that your smart home doesn't just turn on lights when you press a button on your smartphone. It begins to anticipate patterns of behavior, anticipate things that you want it to do. Who's going to win? Don't know. Lots of runners and riders.
And I mean, it's one thing to win, but is there money in this area? I mean, real money, and how can it be better monetized?
If you look at the capital that's coming into it, whether it's from organic investment by large telcos and utility companies or alarm companies or companies that are like Google or Apple that are coming into this market with significant capital investment, you would believe the money was there. Today it isn't. I mean, it really is still a very, very small market in terms of subscription services or hardware sales. But I think what we're seeing is, you're seeing in various markets around the world, we're seeing the beginning of the inflection. We talked about it for a long time, but I think we're genuinely seeing it going now. So you're seeing companies like Nest, British Gas with its Hive product here in the UK, AT&T with Digital Life, Comcast with its at-home service in the US, where they're getting to meaningful scale now.
And think about timescale. Over the next 5 years, do you think it will be a completely different ecosystem, a completely different industry to the one we're looking at today?
For sure. I don't think you'll have a conference like this in 5 years' time because I don't think people will talk about it as a separate industry. I think that this will be something that we will look back and say that was a really early stage of its development, and we kind of had to have these specialist gatherings because it was a small bunch of folk who were trying to drive it forward. I think if we look back 5 years from now, the idea that you won't be able to do the simple operations of your home, you won't be able to monitor your children's whereabouts, you won't be able to interact with your car, I think we'll forget we ever weren't able to do it.
And in the meantime, while there is a conference here dedicated to the smart home, what's it like here today? What's the atmosphere? What are the hot topics? What are people talking about?
I think, well, I'll make 2 points. First of all, as you know, it's very busy. I arrived 5 minutes late because I had to do something before I got here. I couldn't get in the room. It was beyond standing room only, and I had to get in by explaining I was a speaker. And the other thing I would say about the conference is I think you can grade a conference not by the number of attendees, but how senior they are in the organisations that they represent. I've met in the last 10 minutes 2 or 3 people who are very senior people, whether they're from telecoms companies or utilities or alarm companies. Hot topics, I think people now are beginning to talk about who's winning, who's making money, why are they succeeding, not about how might it happen. It's about why is it happening.
Great. Thank you very much, Martin.
Thank you.